Coming up on a year ago, we were all abruptly told to make some supposedly modest sacrifices for the so-called greater good. Your business? Shut it down. Your school? Shut it down. Your church? Shut it down. In fact, just stay inside your home at all times, except, of course, for essential visits to Walmart or Costco. Those places are the safe couch cushions to the coronavirus lava floor. They're magical. And of course, for better or worse, we all bought in. We thought, oh, sure, it'll be annoying. Oh, sure, we'll take a hit, but the government will take care of us. And besides, it's only 15 days to slow the spread. Think of it as a Netflix vacation. And then 15 days became 15 weeks. And soon 15 weeks will be 15 months. And while you watch those calendar pages turn, be sure to keep that dirty dish rag over your face for sanitation. And so what were just modest requests slowly transformed into ever more absurd mandates, because the powers that be aren't looking to restore your freedoms or your rights, only to restrict them in new and creative ways so they can pat themselves on the back and say they did something. And none of this is connected in any way to the science of which they claim trademarked ownership. At this moment, coronavirus cases nationally are down nearly 50% in the last month, at their lowest levels in 3 months. But is anyone talking about loosening restrictions? No, of course not. Instead, we're talking about wearing double or triple masks and warning of exotic, even more contagious foreign viral variants from Russia and South Africa and Brazil. But hey, if we're good little boys and girls and we get our shots, maybe Papa Fauci will give us back a degree of normality by fall. This from the guy who admits to intentionally misleading you about herd immunity numbers and masks, because those lies were for your own good at the time. And so we all sit quietly wondering when this will end, but we're looking to them to answer that question, and they're the wrong people to ask, because their answer is never. You want your normal life back? Then ask yourself, when does it end? And if the answer is now, then it ends now. Normal won't come because the health department okays it. Normal will come because normal people started living life normally. Free men don't ask permission. And it doesn't matter if they do, because petty tyrants don't grant it anyway. And if normal is to return, it'll have to be soon, because each day of delay is another day that the abnormal is normalized and the new normal forms. To the point that things that were common everyday human experiences yesterday are now national scandals of outrage. It's shocking, says the headline. It's alarming, says the story. It's people shopping at a grocery store without masks. And unthinkably, these renegade recreational killers are smiling as they're enjoying each other's company. Such crimes against humanity have made this dissident grocery store seed to table in Naples, Florida, the target of national news media. The story prompted by NBC News reporter Sam Brock, who took the original video and posted it to Twitter. But Sam denies any targeting. He says he was just going inside for a sandwich and by chance stumbled upon this horror house, something he never expected to see. Right, I bet. I'm sure you just randomly came across this grocery store in Naples, even though you're in Florida to report on the Super Bowl in Tampa, 2.5 hours away. I'm sure you drove all that way just for a leisurely cruise in your free time, never having heard of this grocery store that's been suing the county over its mask mandate. What a coincidence that you drove all this way for no particular reason at all and just happened to stop into, according to your own reporting, pretty much the only grocery store around that doesn't require masks.
This is unquestionably an outlier. The vast majority of supermarkets and stores you would go into, Savannah, you wouldn't see anything like that.
So yeah, I'm sure it's not a vindictive reporter trying to ruin a guy he disagrees with. I'm sure this is all about a sandwich. And wow, a story just fortuitously developed. I'm sure it's also coincidental that the story focuses on shaming the store owner for his beliefs, taking short sound bites and trying to portray him as a conspiracy theorizing kook.
Oaks is well known for his conservative and often controversial viewpoints and rejects the data around a deadly pandemic.
You don't think masks work and that the virus is not a real thing, a hoax?
I know that the masks don't work, and I know that the virus has not killed 400,000 people in this country. That's total hogwash.
In fact, the U.S. COVID death toll has now exceeded 450,000, and health experts have been adamant that wearing masks would save countless lives.
Well, who cares if they've been adamant that masks would save lives? We need demonstration that they have, and if they have, those saved lives should be at least roughly countable. not countless, because for all the talk of the science, there is exactly one randomized, controlled, aka scientific study of masks and coronavirus, not in some theoretical lab setting, but on actual people living their actual lives. And mask wearing had no meaningful effect on coronavirus transmission. That study was conducted on 6,000 participants in Denmark. Now, as far as whether mask mandates work, Florida is a great case study for that because Florida never issued a statewide mask mandate. Only certain counties did, like Collier County, where this grocery store is located. And you would think that counties with mask mandates would have obviously better health outcomes than counties without, right? They don't. In fact, dating back to October, Florida counties with mask mandates, the black line, have had more coronavirus cases per capita than counties without, the orange line. Yes, there are many variables uncontrolled for in this simple comparison, but look how closely these lines follow each other. When cases go up, they go up in both. When cases go down, they go down in both. That suggests mask mandates are not an explanatory variable. And if Florida has been so irresponsible about masking as a state overall, never issuing a statewide order, why is Florida ranked 30th in the country, the bottom half of states, for per capita cases? Why is Florida ranked 26th in the country, again, bottom half, for per capita deaths? Well, this guy's a kook for saying masks don't work, but this report never provides any evidence that they do. It just says shut up and obey the experts, because after all, they're adamant. As far as the store owner's disbelief of the official coronavirus death count, that too is not fringe or kooky. We don't have to theorize about certain liberties taken in counting those numbers. We know they have been. Dr. Birx explained it as a deliberate methodology.
I think in this country, we've taken a very liberal approach to mortality. There are other countries that if you had a pre-existing condition, and let's say the virus caused you to go to the ICU and then have a heart or kidney problem. Right now, we're still recording it. If someone dies with COVID-19, we are counting that as a COVID-19 death.
And if the lives this store owner would have saved by requiring masks are countless, then presumably the lives he's claimed should be at least somewhat identifiable. Which grandmas has this guy killed? This news story can't name them, never does. But this store owner has been rejecting masks the entire time.
I'm not going to do it. I've never worn a mask in my life, and I never will.
And yet, they have nothing specific to pin on him. The closest this reporter gets to any actual data, to any actual science, is a completely misleading claim about Collier County cases.
Collier County has 28,000 cases of COVID-19. That's since the start of the pandemic. It puts it in the upper quarter of the state of Florida.
The implication being that denialism from this guy and all his neighbors is causing an increase in cases. Now, it is true that Collier County is in the upper quarter of the state's counties for cases, ranked 16th. But that's a raw number. By population, Collier County is also the 16th largest county in Florida. In other words, Collier County doesn't have raging coronavirus cases. Collier County has cases exactly proportionate to its population. There is one thing this store owner said that's getting especially ripped. He compared coronavirus to heart attacks.
Why don't we shut the world down because of the heart attacks? Why don't we lock down cities because of heart attacks?
And yeah, it's a bad analogy, obviously, because heart attacks aren't contagious. And you can scroll the comment sections with everyone laughing at him for that one. But he does have a broader point about risk assessment. Heart attacks are a leading cause of death in this country, and many of them are totally preventable. But should you still be free to go to that grocery store and buy as many burgers and fries as you want and suffer the fate that you choose? Or should those items be banned for your own good? If you defend your own free will to clog your arteries, your own free risk assessment in that scenario, you will have to defend the freedom to make risk assessment in this context as well. And that is exactly what is happening inside that store. Nobody is being forced to work there. Nobody is being forced to shop there. There is no slave labor. There is no kidnapping. There are only people making free voluntary decisions to accept the risks for themselves. Oh yeah, but their risk puts me at risk, does it? Have you been kidnapped and forced to lick the doorknobs inside of the store? If so, call 911. Otherwise, you are just as free to stay away from there if you determine for yourself that the risk is too great. And that's the irony of all these comments calling for a boycott. Yes, You are perfectly free not to shop there if you decide you don't like their business. Nobody's forcing you to, and nobody should. But if you enjoy not being forced to shop there, perhaps you might try not forcing others not to either. That's a lot of negatives, but you get what I mean. If you enjoy your freedom to choose, perhaps you might protect that right for others too. If making your own risk assessment is important to you, it's probably just as important to other people too. Maybe even enough that it deserves just a little bit of respect. Or not. You can just keep calling us stupid rubes too. You're free to do that. But hey, I'd rather be a stupid rube with a life to live than wasting away with fat cats and box wine counting on someone else to build a future for me. Thanks as always for listening and for supporting this channel. Always appreciate that thoughtful discussion down below, and especially over on Gab. That is at ML Christiansen. You're always welcome to coming out and chat in my live streams. Those are linked down in the description. Looking forward to it. Goodbye.